Good afternoon, good morning, good night, whenever you're watching this. This video is to show you how to input the SMIF portfolio into Telemet Orion. So we're going to go ahead and do that. So first off, you should be getting an email from me, which will have the SHU SMIF portfolio in a CSV file. I'm just going to go ahead and download that. It'll open up in Excel. So this is basically a file of all the SMIF transaction histories, the buys, the sells, the cash in, the dividends, so on and so forth. So it'll pop up looking like this in Excel. If you want to expand to see what it looks like in detail, there you go. Basically just showing the type of security, whether we're buying it, date, how many shares, how much the amount is in total. So what you're going to go ahead and do is you're going to save this file. So if you should have already downloaded Telemet Orion in order to go through with this. So what you're going to do is you're going to go into your C drive, and in your C drive after downloading Telemet there should be a Telemet folder. You're then going to go into the CSV folder within Telemet. You're then going to download this file. Now once it's saved, go ahead and close that. Might ask you to save it again. Yes, replace, and close that up. So Excel is going to have to be completely closed before you can go ahead and open up Telemet and have this work. So I'm going to go ahead, open up Telemet. Alrighty, so this is the normal default Telemet display. Right now, market's closed. It's Saturday afternoon, but up here, there's going to be like a ticker tape running across. Here we'll show you this sample portfolio. You could adjust it to be something else, whatever you want to say. But what we're going to do here is we're going to upload and view the portfolio in this gain and loss page here. You're going to go to Options, Account, then Import Portfolio. So here you're going to want to check the account symbols and include cash, and then select the account. I've been messing around with this all weekend, so I have a few portfolios, but the one that you just downloaded, the CSV, is the one you're going to want. So this is going to pull all that data, reconcile it with the data in the Telemet system, and then it will then pull up our portfolio. So all of the market values are accurate. The cash is also up to date with the most recent TD statement. And as we buy and sell, receive dividends, I will update that in the CSV file and send updated versions out to all of you. The only one thing that's a little funky right now is this Equinor, because it was initially Statoil. This is the actual value of our shares right now, but for whatever reason, Statoil's name change and recognizing the basis value of it isn't working 100%. I'm going to talk to Telemet on Monday to get that one figured out. But otherwise, you can look at this. You could also add columns. For example, if you want to see how much dividends are being contributed, you just go into the holding section and you can check dividend income. If you want to see the alpha per each holding, alpha right there, beta likewise right there. So there's a number of different inputs you could add to this, and then they will populate over here. They're all accurate, and they're all going to give you some more insight into the portfolio. Next, probably the best feature in Telemet's portfolio analysis toolkit is the portfolio attribution. So in order to go into that, you're going to have to hit display, select new display, and then in this display we're going to get, so you're going to go to display tab, portfolio analytics, and then multi-style attribution. So then you have to, there's these little tabs here. First you have to select the portfolio in question. So you're going to select the most recent SHU SMIF file, period. I'm going to go into the previous quarter, because when we were doing our semi-annual endowment presentations. We usually go by quarter or by half year. So you can also put in a custom period if you wanted to do that as well. Right now, the only benchmark available to us is the Telemet 500, which is an equal weighting of all the S&P 500 components. And speaking to John Regan from Telemet, he said I just got to knock on Elvin's door hard and loud enough, and hopefully we should be able to get the S&P 500 added to our account. We'll see about that. Then you're going to select basically how it's going to sort this out by, whether it's going to be by market cap or some other metric, or whether you want to do it by something more traditional like the GICF sectors. So this will break things down into the 11 sectors if you're counting real estate. From there on, you're just going to hit run. This is going to take a little while because it's going to pull a good amount of data from Telemet, organize these reports, which can then be exported to Excel. I'll admit the Telemet graphs aren't exactly the most stylish, so I'd imagine for our meeting with the endowment, we're going to export this stuff to Excel and make it look a little bit cleaner than it shows up in Telemet. But otherwise, all the data is good, and it will definitely get some insight into how the portfolio is looking in terms of weightings, performance, so on and so forth. So here we go. This is what will come up in this multi-style attribution. So this is the summary page. There are a few different pages that performance summary showing our top performing, worst performing holders. And for example, Facebook's our best performing, but because of the size of that position, or likewise, Facebook is the #1 contributor and performer, but Apple, for example, is one of our top contributors, more so than Netflix because of the size of the position. So it'll give you some insight on that. This will show our allocation to each sector versus the benchmark. Hopefully we'll have the S&P 500 get a little more accurate picture. For example, you can see we're very underweight in consumer discretionary, kind of on par in technology, and you can kind of see overall how we stand compared to the sectors. One thing is we do have a pretty good cash balance at the moment. That's one thing that's throwing this off a little bit. Once we're fully invested, we should have a more realistic picture. But right now, about 28% of our portfolio is in cash, which is not a aspect of the S&P 500. Yeah, so it gives you an overall picture of contributions, performance. It shows our performance versus the benchmark. So over an equally weighted S&P 500, we are beating the market by quite a bit. We've got an alpha of 3.87. Sub-period attribution, analysis. This is showing our sector weighting. So again, this cash items is pretty large. Once we're out of that cash, it should paint a little more realistic picture. A scatter plot of how different categories have contributed to our portfolio. Characteristics, and that's basically it. So hopefully this helps you guys in seeing how to upload the portfolio to Telemet, and hopefully you will use it to keep an eye on our portfolio, or when you're trying to present, kind of giving an idea of, oh, we're overweight in cash. This is a reason why we should buy consumer staples, because that's probably the sector we're most underweight in after we take out that cash. All right, well, enjoy the rest of your afternoon, morning, and evening, and I'll see you guys in class next week.